Example 2, a sum of money amounts to 15,000 in 3 years and 18,000 in 5 years at simple interest. Find the sum of money. Let's do it by formula and then learn the only value addition that I have in simple interest. So it's given that it amounts to 15,000. So it amounts to 15,000 in 3 years. So I do not know the principal that is asked, nor is the rate given, but the time period is, let's say, for 3 years. So PRT by 100. And again, to highlight the same error, I cannot put 15,000 here. 15,000 is your amount, right? It is going to become amount refers to the principal plus the interest, whereas PRT by 100 refers only to the interest. So how do I get my interest? My interest is 15,000 minus the principal. Hope you get this part, right? So the same thing, the money amounts to 18,000 in 5 years. So PRN, that is, or T, 5, is this time is going to be 18,000 minus principal. So here we have our two equations and two variables, and I need to find P. So obviously we can do it, but then it depends upon how intelligently you do it. The best possible way to handle this is by subtracting, right? So the P and P will cancel out. So I am doing the second minus the first. 18,000 minus this is 3,000. P minus or minus P will cancel out. When I do this subtraction, PR is common. So I would be getting PR into 2 by 100, right? So 5 minus 3 is going to be a 2. So while one might be puzzled that I do not even know the value, I've subtracted, but that hasn't eliminated a variable. It's okay. We'll just see what we are going to get. We can't get P and R, but we can get it individually. So PR by 100 is nothing but, okay, so let me just write it here. PR by 100 is 1,500, right? I'm just keeping this as it is. The 2 cancels this out, right? And PR by 100, 5,000, plug it anywhere in either of the two equations, that will give me my P. So I'm plugging it in the first one. So this is going to be 15,000 minus P is PR by 100. This part that is there is 1,500. So 1,500 into 3. That is 4,500 comes to the other side minus P comes to this side. So P is going to be 10,500. It alternately, instead of subtracting the 2, we could have divided these two equations. When I divide the equations, PR by 100, TR by 100 comes at both the places, so that will cancel out. So I'll be left with 15,000 minus P over 18,000 minus P is equal to 3 by 5, right? So the R gets eliminated and I can find my P. This would just need some cross multiplication. So there's a minus 5P, there's a minus 3P, so I'll be left with a 2P. 15 into 5 is 75,000, 18 3s is 54,000, so 54,000 to 75,000, it is 4, that is 21,000, and P is going to be 10,500, right? Now these are, whichever way you do it, whether you do the subtraction or the division way, you are taking help of the formula and you are solving it equation wise, right? So our mind is not really developing any logic, right? So the best way out over here, and this all is unnecessary work, the best way is just you use that interest is R percent of principal, which is same in every year. So here comes the oral way. The value add that I was talking about is just this, that in the case of simple interest, the interest earned in any given year is the same. Whether it is the 1st, 5th, 15th, 7th, whichever year, every year I am going to get R percent of principal, which is going to be the same. If R and P is going to remain the same. P is going to obviously be the initial amount out over there, right? So how do you use this? So again, just writing the data in the sort of tabular way. You don't need to write anything. It's just to explain that I'm doing that, right? So let's say we were talking about the year and I had the 3rd year and the data given is that of amount due. Amount due, right? So the 3rd year, the amount due would have been 15,000, whereas at the end of 5 years, the amount due would have been 18,000. Now, how have I Why am I receiving more money if I wait for till 5 years? Obviously, we know that the amount due is nothing but the principal plus the interest. And how much interest would I earn in 3 years? This is what we are saying is nothing but 3 times the interest earned in 1 year. I am referring to as the interest in 1 year, right? Whereas if I wait for 5 years, the principal is going to be the same money that I have kept. But why am I getting extra? Because the interest now will be for 5 years. So I being the first year's interest will be 5 times I'll be getting that out over there, right? So that is why I get extra money. Needless to say, this is again too algebraic. What we are hinting at is from 3 years till 5 years. So it is a period of 2 years. In 2 years, could I say that I have earned an extra interest of rupees 3000, which is what we'll be getting when we subtract these two out over there, right? So 2 years I get 3000 rupees. Now going backwards, I want to go at start, right? So from start till 3 years, so this is 3 years. So what is the interest that I'll be getting in 3 years? If in 2 years I get 3000, you could go to per year, which is the same every year. So every year I'm going to get 1500, 1500, 1500, 1500. 3 years I'm going to get an interest of rupees 4500. Ideally, you should have done this proportionally. If 2 parts is 3000, 3 parts is going to be how much? 3 by twice of 3000, right? And so the principal amount at start there's no interest, so principal amount is going to be this 15,000 minus 4,500. The interest part, if I remove, I'll be getting 10,500. If you have a look at it again, you will realize that none of these needs to be written out over there, right? And that is how you solve the simple interest question, right? So I'll just highlight one point and recapturing the learnings from this example. In the case of simple interest, your first and foremost thing is focus on interest and not on amount, right? So 15,000 in 3 years, 18,000 in 5 years. I'm not interested in 15 and 18. I'm interested in the earned interest, that is 3,000 in 2 years, right? Focus on the interest. Second thing and important one, please do not use this wrongly. The interest is directly proportional to time. And obviously the interest is PRT by 100, right? So if I take PRT by 100 as K, so interest is directly proportional to time. More time, so in 2 years I get 3000, so in 1 year I'll get 1500. This is what we mean by directly proportional. In 3 years I'll get 4500, right? And the third and the last, in your mind, in a picture should be formed that at beginning I have amount P. Now in 1 year's time, I'm going to get R% of principal. Okay, so and I would be getting some, say, this will become my amount, P plus R% by principal. In the second year, I would again get R%, but R% of principal itself. So focus on the interest. When you do this way, what it helps you build is I'm looking at interest out over here, right? So I'll be getting some amount after at the end of 2 years, right? At the end, in the third year, I would again be receiving R% of principal itself. Compare this when we do with compound interest, right? So think about it. So what I'm trying to tell you is, coming back to the previous question, in 3 years I got 15,000 is the amount. Oh, I again get R% of principal. I get some new amount, I will again get R% of principal, I will be getting 18,000, right? So where is the addition? Focus on what is added, It will help you in the next question also. I want you to do the next question correctly. I'll be giving you time for doing it, right? So this is what I'm hinting at out of that. So what I'm adding? 3000. So each is going to be 1500 plus 1500. So every year I'm adding 1500, right? So the whole picture becomes clear without the use of any formulas. So 15,000, I subtract 4500. Hope you are ready for the next question.